Good afternoon and welcome to the Council Committee of the Whole meeting of February 11th. I'd like to call this meeting to order and take the opportunity to read our land acknowledgement. The city respectfully acknowledges the Métis, Cree, Beaver, Dene people as the original caretakers of these lands and surrounding areas. We are grateful to live, learn, work, and play on Treaty 8 territory within Turtle Island and acknowledge that these lands have been home to diverse and sovereign First Nations and Inuit nations since time immemorial. I'd also like to take some time to recognize and share our deep condolences with the community of Tumbler Ridge and in this time of grieving in their community. Grande Prairie is a community that visits and plays and shares resources and individuals with their community. We know many people in that community, and it's a very difficult time for them. We all understand that schools should truly be a place of learning and friendship and community, and so facing such a deep tragedy at this time is extremely difficult. I personally have reached out to the mayor and haven't had an opportunity to actually connect, but we know that our thoughts are with their students, their families, their staff, and the first responders in this extremely difficult time. So thank you for that opportunity to acknowledge that. Moving on to item number 3 on today's agenda, the reports. The first one being advocacy update, and I will turn that over to Ms. Pinnock. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. The city is continuing work on the electricity distribution advocacy item, taking advantage of some upcoming conferences and events to connect with elected officials and keep this item moving forward. And we continue to work with our GR firm to be in contact with the minister's office to understand where this item is on that front. The item was approved as a resolution at Alberta municipalities and has been added to their overall advocacy priorities. So they will be working on that, and we expect to see some more in the coming weeks on their work on this front as well. We have sent 2 letters to the provincial government, one related to the 911 levy, and the second to continue to reinforce support for NWP and the importance of skilled trades programming for the region. The next big announcement that we anticipate from the province is the provincial budget, which we expect to be tabled sometime around February 26th. And we will be doing some analysis on local impacts for that, and also looking at the analysis that's done through some other organizations, including Alberta municipalities and MCMC and others, just to see some regional impacts and impacts provincially. On the provincial front, just a couple of things to note, just one being that swap with Minister Boychenko being appointed to Treasury Board, replacing Minister Schultz. And then the last item, which would be helpful to have some feedback from Council, is on resolutions. With Alberta Municipalities Conference being a little bit earlier this year, it's happening at the end of September. Their deadline for resolutions has been bumped up to the end of May. May 31st. And so with the new process, we do require our any resolutions to be passed and to have a seconder also on that, and that needs to be passed through their councils as well. So if there are any items for resolutions that council is interested in that we can start working on, that would be very helpful to know. Thank you.
All right, so thank you for the update. Council, the documents in front of you in regards to the work that we're currently doing. Happy to take questions on work that we're currently doing. Also want to open this as an opportunity, as Ms. Pinnock has said, for resolution opportunities as well. I just want to clarify, you're open to any other items of advocacy that maybe get added to our list, because we haven't finalized our Advocacy 2026 priorities. Ms. Pinnock?
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. We are working on a draft report to bring forward to Council, including the previous 2025 advocacy items, and there'll be an opportunity to discuss with Council new ones to be added before it gets brought forward.
Okay, so leave any new ones till then is your preference?
Through the chair, no, we can take them now if there are items, or if there are any other for discussion later on. Happy to add them later.
Perfect. Thanks for that. Recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. My question is more on the provincial, on bullet 2 here, about the potential funding come from the 10 youth placements. I'm just curious, do we know how that's going to impact, or how that, if they've been working with Sunrise Youth Shelter on that, or how that conversation is happening with that as well? Sorry,
do you mean what, just so I know what document you're looking at?
On our advocacy update on our provincial, on January 29th of 2026, the budget highlighted $5 million for funding towards 10 youth placements and funding going towards a detailed design and feasibility study for a new campus-based care center in Grande Prairie.
I can update on them. I'm just wondering what document you're looking at. I don't see it in today's
right,
package.
Yeah, it's right under advocacy. That's the second page and page 2 under East.
Oh, on the, okay, perfect.
So on the provincial stuff, sorry. I'm just curious. I hadn't heard much about that. I'm just wondering if I can get a little bit of information. Just wondering how that
Yes.
they're working with, or how that could impact our Sunrise Youth Shelter.
So currently they have had conversations with the Sunrise Youth Shelter, the Ministry of Mental Health and Addictions. I had high-level conversations with MLA Weeb on it last week. At this time, the conversations are around that facility potentially being on the land in the county adjacent to the treatment center, but there is more information to come. I don't know if the CAO has more to add, but that's what we know at this date. It's to replace a facility that was burnt down from Slave Lake, and so they've decided to move that facility and the 10 placements to the Grande Prairie region.
Okay, so at this point, it's in concept stage. There's no design.
100%.
Nothing. Okay, well, that's perfect. Thank you.
Yep, you bet. Anyone else with questions or new items? Councillor Plott.
Thought you might have somebody else in queue. I'm just curious on for advocacy items, potential one. I know we've chatted about this a bit, but over the last week, I've had 3 different proponents call me, myself being one of them, outside of that being the 4th, with issues around trying to repurpose commercial buildings in our city. And I think our planning and development job is doing everything they can around it. But this snag with needing an architect or an engineer involved on some areas is getting to be a big problem. Very concerned that one of the proponents is actually going to not go ahead with the building now because of it. I think our planning and development services is trying to work within it. But I'm just wondering at what point where we maybe want to start pushing a little bit more on the province. They're saying they want red tape. They say we want to get projects done. But they seem to be a major hurdle in some of this right now. And they're causing delays and extra costs that aren't really helping industry at all. And there's a lot of uncertainties. I've talked to 2 proponents that used to do commercial developments. They're getting right out of the business because they've lost so much money and time trying to even look at those kind of projects. So very concerned with a city that's looking at growth phase coming up, that we could be, from this area, be choking out some opportunities in our community. So,
And to my understanding, these are building codes. They're not.
Well, they're interesting how they're kind of building codes, but it's more of this interpretation of when you use an architect, when you use an engineer, and why. And it's pretty gray. I mean, and I've had it on several files myself personally. It's pretty gray. And so I just...
So it's actually a localized issue.
It's a localized issue, and I think I'm wondering if our city's even looking at, we chatted at committee yesterday and appreciate administration bringing back more information about our 911 dispatch center, but I'm wondering how much scope creep it's even causing the city. If it's causing builders and developers more money, the city builds and develops a lot of products as well. So it's probably causing scope creep to us, which is causing extra costs to us as a municipality as well. So is this just park it as worried about red tape reduction and what the province actually means by that? Or is this a conversation maybe for a CCW at another point?
He's on. CAO Burke.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. I think that's one that when we bring the bundle of advocacy priorities forward, let us just gather a little bit more information, and we can have that as part of the prioritization discussion. I think would be a useful place to put that here just for a short time.
No, that'd be great. Appreciate that.
I think initially we had some conversations with Build Alberta as well, so it'd be good to include them in that conversation. Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. Just along that last one, if I recall correctly, we actually had to undergo some big expenses as a city for our design manuals because those are requirements, so I'd definitely be supportive of talking about that. But the issue I wanted to raise is, and I'm curious if my colleagues have any interest in this, is I know I've been hearing a lot from the community about recent changes to disability benefits. And I don't know if others have received this, but I've received a more formalized request from the Grande Prairie chapter of Inclusion Alberta about doing some advocacy on behalf of folks with disabilities in our community. I know some other councils are starting to do some advocacy on behalf of folks with disabilities. And I'm wondering if my colleagues have any appetite to learn a little bit more about what's going on so that we can decide if that's something that we might have appetite to advocate for.
Yeah, I think learning more, I would think that I'm getting nods around the table that people are interested in learning more. And then maybe with that, we can have a conversation of whether or not it justifies advocacy. Did you want to make a motion on that, Councillor Bressie?
Yeah, I move that administration bring to the appropriate standing committee more information about recent changes to disability benefits. And I'll leave it there. If the appropriate committee is the next CCW, talk about advocacy priorities, I'd accept it there, or it could be another standing committee as well. And yeah, but for me, I would like to get more information so we can understand if we should take a more direct role in this.
Perfect. I think that's appropriate. I'll give the clerk to have a moment to get that in the e-scribe, and then I'll go back to you, Councillor Plott. We should probably take a motion for your conversation that you're looking for as well. Okay, so, and I see Councillor Berg and Plott. Are you in the queue with questions for Councillor Bressie? Okay, go ahead, Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. Councillor Bressie, just for point of clarity, are you referring to the $200 rollback around H?
Yeah, there's the rollback with H. There's also the more holistic program changes with H. There's been a few notable changes lately that are really impacting people's ability to survive when they were already below the poverty line and appear to be even further below the poverty line now. And there are a few changes that are contributing to that, though, is my understanding. But even for myself, I'd love to have a better.
Yeah, thank you. And even speaking to this, I fully support that. But even to recoup that $200, these people have to go get a doctor, typically a psychiatrist, to sign off on it, and a lot of these don't have doctors. So there's an added layer of challenge for these people that are already struggling, and it is more than financial. Most of these people need advocates to help them work through this. So yeah, I fully support that. Thank you.
All right, so there is a motion in your queue to direct administration to bring back information to a future meeting regarding recent changes to disability benefits. Does that address, cover what you're hoping, Councillor Bressie?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Thank you.
Okay, seeing no one else in the queue on this item, I'll call the question. And that carries unanimously. Councillor Plott, I'll go back to you for your business arising, and then I'll go to those in the queue, the other items.
Okay, thanks, Mayor Clayton. I'll try to wing something here on this. So I'll just ask that the administration bring back a report to the appropriate standing committee around what the city is doing for red tape reduction around development and redevelopment with properties that require architects and engineering. And I guess I'm leaving it like that because I want to specifically put architect and engineering. That seems to be the snag that I'm hearing consistently from industry, is that this didn't used to be an oversight before 2, 3, 4 years ago. You would build a project. There was certain code levels that you could build things in. Now there's this, you can build it at this size, but we need you to have an architect or an engineer involved, and especially on the repurposing of buildings. So I'm not sure if that would
Chief Glavin, does that
understandable to?
Is that appropriate for what, based on what Councillor Plott is addressing?
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. Yeah, professional involvement is the term that gets caught up in the code that's caused most of the issues of late. I know that we have calls into the province as well looking for some clarification, and I know other municipalities have done so as well. So definitely something that has caused some issues across the province.
And just hearing that from administration, if I can, Mayor Clayton, I do think it would be better to put professional development, because that's specifically what the problem is you've got builders that are liable, bonded, and they can't get things done because they still need to go get another level, and they're not sure why they're not considered a professional anymore. So I appreciate that from administration.
It's been addressed, or if you want to read that, Councillor Plott. And I guess my question to you, Councillor Plott, is it, from what you're hearing in the community, is it red tape reduction or is it interpretation? I mean, we are an award-winning community in regards to planning and permitting for red tape reduction. So is it interpretation or is it actually red tape?
I think it's a bit of both. I think the province has done some change. I'm hearing out of Edmonton and Calgary other issues that are happening like this as well. I hear it more localized because I guess that's where we live. But yep. I'm not sure when that change happened, to be honest. So I know there's been some interpretation. The only thing I'd ask our city clerk is if they could just switch the words architect and engineers just to professional involvement.
It is in there if you just refresh your screen.
Okay, sorry. My e-scribe kicked me right out, so I'm going to
Okay, so I'll read it to you and let me know if it addresses. It just says, committee direct administration to bring back a report to the appropriate standing committee with information on what the city is doing for red tape reduction regarding development and redevelopment for projects that require professional involvement. Okay. Councillor Bretzi, is your question on this motion? Go ahead.
It is. And just, I do support this because it's good that we can show the work we're doing. But just with that, I do hope we do get more information about the changes that did happen, because I am hearing about this across the province and a little bit in other provinces too. So this really isn't a city-driven change. It is a higher level of government or authority change in the city. So I do want to have that broader discussion about advocacy as well.
Okay. Seeing no one else in the queue on this, I'll call the question on this motion. And that carries unanimously. I'm going to jump in the queue until I see someone else. I have a few items. I might leave some of them till we come back, depending on what administration may add for conversations. In regards to federal advocacy, I'd like council to consider a couple things. One is in regards to stable and predictable funding on the Canadian Building Fund. I can't remember the correct name for it. Canada Community Building Fund. Conversations at the Mid-Sized City Mayor's table last week was in regards to the predictability part, but I also think in regards to increases that are comparable to the rate of inflation. So the same amount of money has been there for a long time. When you're looking at large projects, and the money isn't going as far just because things simply cost more these days. So if nobody has any concerns with this, my hope would be to make a motion on a couple federal pieces, and then administration can bring those back in how they interpret them, and then we'll discuss those as federal advocacy priorities. Any questions or concerns on the first one I wanted to address? Councillor Bretzi, I see you furrowing your eyebrows, so go for it.
Sorry, I'm looking for a raised hand emoji. I think another issue with this current federal budget isn't just that we're not seeing any net new, even for inflationary increase, but also there's potential that they're going to require us to cut development levies to receive funding. And that would just mean that we're actually not getting any net new funding in our community for water, road, et cetera, infrastructure. Just mean we're displacing existing revenues. So I think that part of advocacy should not just be inflation, but also should be, don't punish Alberta for already having low development levies. Let us keep on collecting local revenue in the way that we think it's best to collect local revenue.
Okay, I think that's fair. Another part for me in regards to federal government is I think that we as an organization and as a council in particular need to heighten our conversations in regards to federal advocacy. There's been minimal things that come to mind personally for me that have been advocacy priorities, and I see more and more opportunities for us to advocate on behalf of our region and opportunities. That includes things such as stable and appropriate funding for infrastructure projects based on needs and not where you live. It also includes a partnership approach when it comes to the Canada Investment Hub and the economic opportunities. We need to not only advocate strong with our provincial partners, but with our federal partners as we hear, great opportunities with the Premier's intent on the MOU with the province. And I think that there is a significant role for this region, and I think that council needs to heighten its federal advocacy. So I'm happy to sort of loop it all into a motion, and I think Ms. Pinnock sort of gets the general census of identifying some federal priorities, but my motion roughly would be committee direct administration to bring back a report identifying significant federal advocacy priorities based on the existing funding streams. And so that would heighten overall our advocacy, but it also would identify some existing streams where we could put some special attention. If anybody has anything, I don't see anyone in the queue on that one. I'll give the clerk a moment to sort of get that into the e-scribe. Yep, that works for me. So unless anybody has any concerns with that motion, bringing back in a report to the appropriate standing committee identifying significant federal advocacy priorities based on existing funding streams. So I'll call the question on that one. And that carries unanimously. I have a couple federal or provincial ones. I see no one else in the queue. Oh, Councillor Bressie is back. I did have a question, Councillor Bressie, if you're able to hear me, in regards to AB Muni's intent in advocating for any changes to the ICF. Has there been any discussion at the Alberta Muni's table for conversations around that? And if not, I would like to have a conversation here and see if that becomes a resolution or advocacy. I'm not really sure.
Yeah, so definitely happy to hear if there's feedback on what exactly we should be advocating for. We did provide feedback to the government. Some was incorporated, some which wasn't last time. Did revisions to the ICF legislation. Also, right now, we're just undergoing a scope of work with RMA to update the ICF workbook and other tools that are made available to our members so that they can have the best hope of coming to local resolutions and satisfactory agreements. So it is something we're doing some work on, but very happy to hear feedback if there's specific work.
What's the timeline for the work that you're looking to do through Alberta Munis? Just so, I mean, once your information comes out and is looking for engagement from your members, that may cover some of the items that I wanted to address, but I'm just curious on your timeline.
My apologies. I have to get back to you later today. I know that it is in my agenda packet for executive committee tomorrow, so it's very much on the radar right now, but I don't remember the specific timelines other than there's some discussion about it happening tomorrow.
Okay, I'll leave that one for now as an item for today and look for an update from you. There are two other conversations that I wanted to talk about today and see what my colleagues think. One is in regards to advocacy on insurance, and I don't really know what in particular this looks like. I think it would be resolution potentially for Alberta Munis, but I'm hearing from a lot of residents in regards to concerns on, in particular, automobile insurance. And so if people have personal scenarios, great, but I'm hearing a lot about it appears there's an intent from the industry to have less and less interest in actually insuring automobiles. And so they're taking an approach that becomes very restrictive to consumers, which obviously has significant impact, not only economically, but in regards to mobility for communities. And so I guess I'll ask the city manager, I don't really know the best way to sort of form that advocacy. I don't even know if is it best as a resolution for Alberta Munis, or is it an advocacy priority that council could adopt in turn that goes to the Insurance Association of Alberta and or Canada for advocacy. I don't really know how that would play out.
What I would suggest for today is that we just have a motion that it's something we wants to discuss, and then we can look at what the best approach would be going forward. Maybe having some discussions with our government relations firm on getting some advice on what the current status is.
Perfect. So to council, my intent would be primarily around automobile insurance. I don't know if people had other intent to add insurance, business insurance, content insurance, household insurance. It was brought to my attention primarily about automobile, so I'll look to my colleagues to look for some sort of input in that stream. Are we good with just leaving it as automobile for now? Okay, I'm getting heads and shakes, so I'll make a motion that Committee Direct Administration to bring back information in regards to potential advocacy initiatives in the automobile insurance We'll leave it as that. Councillor O'Connor.
Would this be in about no-fault insurance? Is that what this
No, the province is working on that right now.
Okay.
No, this is really about people just having issues insuring vehicles purely based on insurance companies not wanting to insure vehicles anymore.
Okay, thank you.
So the motion, Committee Direct Administration will bring back information to a future meeting regarding, yep, that covers what I was looking for. Seeing no one else in the queue, I'll call the question. And that carries unanimously. The other, until you guys jump in the queue, I'll keep going. But the other one that I have is in regards to funding opportunities in regards to emergency medical services. So I think my motion would be direct administration to bring back a report exploring opportunities for alternative management models in regards to EMS. For now, I want council to have a conversation around alternative models. In particular, I know Lethbridge has a model that in conversations with local representatives of the IAFF, as well as conversations with the mayor of Lethbridge, they have a model that is not necessarily a fully integrated system, but it's a model that explores opportunity in regards to housing of EMS within fire. It explores opportunities of some integrated dispatch and some not. It's not full. It doesn't mean we would fully train firefighters to be EMS providers. It means that they could be, there's some integration and some are fully trained, some aren't, but it's a system that Lethbridge is quite happy with. I also know there's been some changes recently with the province in regards to having those conversations with the 7 municipalities that do have an integrated approach. And so I'd like to see a full report, a report with alternative models, including Lethbridge and Strathcona County, to look at alternatives for council to discuss. From there, we may want to do some advocacy. But for me, right now, it falls under advocacy because it very well will lead to that. But for now, it's just exploratory work. Okay. So the motion is direct administration to bring back a report to the appropriate standing committee exploring opportunities for alternative management models regarding EMS. Seeing no one in the queue, I'll call the question. And that carries unanimously.
Yeah, I know I had it on.
Okay. Anyone else for any other, for now, advocacy? And as Ms. Pinnock mentioned, this report will come back, and then there will be some opportunities for other conversations in regards to initiatives that may come to light. So I guess the other question in regards to resolutions that Ms. Pinnock asked, is there any of our advocacy items that are current or some of the conversations today that we want to heighten to a resolution level of profile? Recognizing Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, when going back to the firefighters, there are areas throughout North America where a firefighter is cross-trained as a paramedic and as well a firefighter of many different classes. And so some jurisdictions say if you're a firefighter today, that's all you can do, even though you're at an accident scene and you want to do your paramedic use, you're not allowed to by the provincial laws. So I'd like to see that inquired somehow in the request as well.
Okay.
That both, if you're there on the scene, why can't you do the job that you're needed first? Thank you.
All right, so just ask again in regards to any potential resolutions. And Councillor Bressie, if you have anything in particular that you think, based on your conversations around the province on behalf of Alberta Munis, if there's pieces of advocacy or resolutions that you think are logical for us, maybe you could let us know in that regard. Otherwise, it may be something that we have conversations. I think the deadline, Ms. Pinnock, is when, sorry?
Through the chair, May 31st.
Okay, so we have a little bit of time, but just something to keep on our radar for now. All right, so I'll move on, seeing no one else in the queue, to item 3.2 in regards to a grant update, and I'll turn that one over to Ms. Pinnock as well.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. A couple of quick updates on grants. We do have a couple of grants that have come through that are just working their way through signature, which we'll hopefully be able to announce in a couple of weeks. We had a couple of grant applications that were outstanding from 2024 that have come through that we were unfortunately unsuccessful on. I will note that on that second one down, the supporting psychological health in first responders, we have one more SPH IFR application outstanding. That we're still waiting to hear on. Most of these applications simply were high number of applications received, and few of them moved forward to the second stage. The last one, the Government of Canada Green and Inclusive Community Building Grant, we are asking for additional feedback and reasoning on that one to better understand why we weren't successful. Couple of new applications that were smaller. The Heritage Preservation Partnership Program, the work was already completed, but we are approved to submit an application retroactively on that one. And then the Canadian Museums Association Young Canada Works Partnership is a smaller grant, but it's separate from the city's larger Summer Works program, specifically for heritage site attendance that we are looking for some funding for. And we are just doing the final touch-ups on our 2025 overall grant summary, and that'll be brought forward to committee here in just a couple of weeks.
Sorry, can you explain a little bit more on the heritage one that we are able to apply retroactively?
The Heritage Preservation Partnership Program?
Yeah. What project are we applying? Would we be applying retroactively to?
Through the chair. That was just for the project to replace the roof at the Reverend Forbes homestead.
Okay.
And so we'd already done some of that work, but just we were able to submit the application retroactively on that project.
Great. Thank you. Councillor O'Toole.
Would that include the Center of Creative Arts? It's a historic building. Would we be able to take grants to do repairs?
Ms. Pinnock?
Through the chair, I would have to go back and actually look at the grant stream and see what would be eligible, but we could certainly take a look at that.
Okay. I know in the past there was some was allowed and some wasn't, so thank you for inquiring.
Okay. In regards to grants, and it might Ms. Pinnock or Ms. Bieberdorf, I know the answer, but I've forgotten. Actually, Ms. Bieberdorf, can you tell me outdoor beach volleyball? Did they apply for facility enhancement, whatever the tourism grants? Did they apply for that? I can't recall.
Yes, thank you through the mayor. They have applied for CFEP and expecting to hear back in March.
Okay. And do we have any other projects to your knowledge that, because I know those need to be partnered with an association or organization in your community. Are we aware of any other ones that are out there? Like for example, did the climbing wall apply? Did organizations like that apply?
Yes, thank you. The Climbing Association has applied. Those are the only two that I'm aware of right now.
Okay, thank you. All right, I see no one else in the queue, so I'm going to move to item 3.3, Vandalism Recovery Grant, the pilot program, and I'll turn this one over to Ms. Bieberdorf.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. This report responds to Council's previous direction from budget to return with options for a vandalism recovery program and clear funding criteria. Administration reviewed comparable programs across Alberta, analyzed RCMP data for the city, and looked at the previous experience with the crime mitigation grant. Over the past 2 years, nearly 200 commercial vandalism incidents were reported citywide, with a significant concentration in the downtown, particularly glass breakage and general damage. These incidents create financial pressures for small businesses and impact the overall look and feel of our downtown. This pilot project would offer a targeted, evidence-based way to help downtown businesses recover quickly and invest in prevention. Administration is recommending a 1-year vandalism recovery and prevention grant pilot program, option 2, as outlined in the report, at an amount of $80,000.
All right. Thanks for your introduction. Open it up to council for questions. Recognizing Councillor Berg.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Clayton. One of the things for me is I just question if the prevention portion goes far enough. The one thing that I've been trying to put a lot of thought into is around spray paint. Again, I was just in Edmonton for 3 days. We probably have 10 times the amount of spray paint vandalism than downtown Edmonton does. So around prevention, one of the things that I'm just curious, what are other communities doing? And I do have a motion at the end of this to add, but I think there's probably 8 to 10 stores in Grande Prairie that actually sell spray paint, and I'd just be curious what restrictions or regulations other cities or communities might have on the purchase of spray paint. Because again, somehow they're doing better than we are, and I'm just curious why, and I don't have the answer. There may be an added cost to those 8 to 10 businesses of $2,000 to $3,000 in some way, shape, or form, but for the dozens and dozens of other businesses that have to go repaint the side of their buildings, again, it's costing them thousands of dollars as well. So there is a cost to business one way or the other. I would just as soon see it somehow done in prevention, but again, I don't know how other communities are successfully doing it that we're not.
Ms. Beaverdorf, you have any information in regards to those questions?
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. No, we haven't done any research in that area, but happy to do that work. And again, this is just a pilot program, so this might be what kicks off the program, and then we can go away and do the work to do some of the research on what other communities are doing.
Okay, so Mayor Clayton, there is a motion. If you want me to add to this, I'd like to make a motion that committee direct administration to do a jurisdictional scan on vandalism prevention, specifically around spray paint, and bring back any successful solutions to the appropriate committee.
So I will ask you, when you say solutions, they would be ones in addition already identified in the
Correct,
report?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Conversations around that motion. Seeing none, I'll wait for a moment to get that in there. Councillor O'Toole, is there a question on this motion?
Question, just information.
Okay, so go for it.
So back when I first got elected, there was a neighborhood watch, and throughout the process, there was investigation on what you could use on your building to reduce the labor to get the tagging off. And there was a spray that you could apply to your building, and it would be something that you could easily remove it. And now that was 16 years ago, so I don't know if that is got better or if it's discontinued, but there are products out there.
Okay, thanks for your comments. Seeing no one else in the queue, I'll call the question on the motion. And that carries unanimously. Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Just on the admin report, I'm just curious why we're only using downtown and why it's only a downtown credit. I guess dipping my hand, I wouldn't be able to support this if it's only downtown, and especially when I look in the report saying there isn't one area that was over 50% in downtown. So I'm just curious why we just singled out downtown for this, just the BIA area.
Ms. Beaverdorf.
Thank you, Mayor Clayton. It was just based on the concentration of incidents within the downtown area. They make up the most incidents within the city. So again, this is a pilot program. It would kind of start there. And then if it was successful, we would look at expanding it to other areas of the city.
But I guess when I look at the report, it doesn't say that. It says that 48% were glass breaks in downtown, 37, like they're not even over 50% on any of the line items that are downtown specific. So just, I guess, curious about that. My other question for administration is, have we looked at this being administered by GPPS?
Ms. Beaverdorf?
Instead of us administratively inside the city?
Through the mayor, no, we have not looked at running it through GPPS.
I guess for me, that would be my appetite to have this happen through GPPS. We'd love to get our community buying and calling them directly. If they have to call us to go through a process to get this done, I don't want GPPS left out of this circle. So I'm just wondering, I'm asking administration if this were to be administered by GPPS, is that something we could approve today, or would we have to ask GPPS to approve it? I just would like to get the funding where it should be. To me, that seems like a policing initiative and trying to get them bought into actually calling us. We've had a lot of downtown people say they've quit calling, they quit trying. And calling the city is great, but it's putting administrative work on us to deal with a problem that indirectly, it's a policing and social disorder issue that, to me, feels like it should be lying there.
Mr. Burke.
What I would offer for suggestion through the mayor is that we do have mechanisms in place to administer these programs existing, and as this is a pilot for us, if the interest is for us to spool this up quickly, we're probably the quickest option to do that. And if there's success, that this would be something that came back through the police commission and requests through a future budget. But if it was just simply to get a pilot going soon, I would recommend that we're probably in the best place to at least get some funds flowing to those that are facing this vandalism. But that doesn't mean it has to land here forever.
Oh, and that's fair. And so just on that, if I can ask, would this only be allocated for 2026, or if there was funds left over, would they roll into 27, and then at that point we could look at allocating them across the GPPS, or what's the shelf life, I guess, on this $80,000?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor Clayton. So the $80,000 was approved as part of the 2026 budget.
Okay, so
I would assume we'll spend it all based on the previous years that we've run a similar program, but yeah, it would just be for the 2026 year.
Okay, so it does have an end date of 2026 on it. Okay, thank you.
Councillor Bressie.
Great, thank you. Yeah, just to speak to Councillor Plot's idea, I suggest that we don't want GPPS standing up resources to do something that's very much outside of their wheelhouse, and we have departments that regularly do grants. But I also do hear that we want to make sure that they're in the loop when things are happening. So I suggest that there's in examples of proof of vandalism, there were a few options that were given. I would say that if we're going to grant this to people, it's mandatory that they've made a police report, not optional.
Yeah, I think that's fair. And that could be amended into the program overview. Is it in item 2? So, yeah, so it says applicants submitted online application, including photos, receipts, and police report. So it does identify that.
Okay, good. I just wasn't sure if that was just one example of what they could do, or if they needed all of those things. So if it's mandatory, great.
Okay, perfect. Happy to have the language stronger if you want, but I'll ask Ms. Bieber if that was administration's intent.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Clayton. The intention would be to have everything that's included in option 2.
Okay. Does that address your concern, Councillor Bressie?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Okay. Councillor O'Connor.
Yes, thank you, Mayor Clayton. I think this is a great program, but I think it's post. I think we should be doing something to identify the taggers and catch them beforehand. It's their work of art, and if you recognize who they are, we should be looking at finding a program to be able to report someone and then make them responsible to come and clean it up. So I don't know if that's possible, whether or not you can do that, but I know that there are a couple of buildings have had some issues with that repeated tagging on their building.
Yeah, and my thought that's absolutely a public safety initiative that once we have police jurisdiction after October 21st, through the commission, the conversations of prioritizing vandalism, I think those conversations are absolutely appropriate. And for now, the intent is through these grants to support businesses that are facing these, regular reoccurring offenses.
Thank you. That fits the bill. Thank you.
Okay. I had a question and I may have lost it. All right, so it's not coming to me. I'll wait if one of my colleagues would like to do business arising from this. Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I'd recommend that committee recommend council approve implementation of a 1-year vandalism recovery prevention pilot program, and 2, allocate a budget of $80,000 from council strategic initiatives. Specifically left out the wording of downtown because I can't support if it's just for downtown. Love the idea of this, but I do think that this is a citywide issue, not just downtown, and our stats show that. Even on our BIA map, there's a bunch of businesses that I've personally dealt with, and I've had Inspector Nibbs meet with me on them, and it was gracious that he met with them. They're near the downtown core, but they wouldn't actually qualify for this because they're not in the BIA area. So I think when we make a map that prescriptive, My worry is that we're going to have people a block out of that side really upset that even though we're trying to do the right thing, they don't qualify for it because they're not a block over. So specifically left out the downtown BIA. I'm happy to beat that.
And I just want to be clear, I don't think I heard you say option 2. If you did, great, but your intent was option 2, correct?
Yes, Mayor Clayton, that would be funded from Council Strategic Initiatives.
Nope. There's 2 options in a report, and the motion as administration put identified option 2, and I just want to make sure that's your intent.
Sorry. Yeah, it would be option 2.
Okay. Okay. Just so your changes, keep option 2, just not prescribed
Thanks for the
solely
catch.
downtown. Okay. Councillor Roger.
Thank you, Mayor. On page 6 of 10, it doesn't say downtown at all, but it does say grant is open to residents, which probably means all over Grande Prairie, businesses, nonprofit, association, charities within the city. So to me, that kind of leaves it quite open to no matter where in the city, people can apply for funding to get things replaced.
Councillor Roger, I just want to make sure I'm understanding. In the staff report, I only see 5 pages. Can you tell me where you're talking about 6 of 10?
It's actually on the page just before analysis.
Oh, page 2. Okay. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, I think it kind of covers everything.
Okay, so you're just making a general observation. In your opinion, it wouldn't. I guess the concern is that the administrative recommend motion included specific geographic location, and Councillor Bressie, or Palat rather, is just removing that specific area. So, somebody has their Ms. Beaverdorf. Oh, sorry, all it says is administration. So I'm like, okay.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. I just want to clarify that paragraph was just referring to the crime mitigation grant, not this grant specifically.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so discussion and debate on Councillor Palat's motion. Councillor Palat.
Sorry, Mayor Clayton, when I read the motion that's coming up in e-scribe, it still specifically says for the downtown business improvement area.
If you refresh, it doesn't.
Okay, do this again.
I'll read your motion just in case it doesn't refresh.
It'll only take.
Approve implementation of a 1-year vandalism recovery and prevention grant pilot program, option 2, and allocate a budget of $80,000 from Council Strategic Initiatives. So it doesn't have the downtown identified. Okay, seeing no further discussion or debate on Councillor's Palat, which has 2 steps, I will call the question rather. And that carries unanimously. Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Looks as we're getting that next part of our agenda, I would just move that we go into camera.
Sorry, I have one more thing for you to do. Thank you for that. I missed this during advocacy, and so I'm going to take this opportunity to use my chair's card and ask for one more consideration. Something that has a large scope, and I don't know where we start on this one, but I'm hearing a lot of conversations through mid-sized city mayors of concerns in communities about flavored vapes. And so I think that maybe it's through GPPS, once they're placed at jurisdiction, having conversations about enhanced, let's call it, initiatives and rules around those who are selling flavored vapes. It's, if it's looking at age limitations, if it's having stronger enforcement around those who are legally selling vapes, but particularly around the thought and conversation that flavored vapes are truly marketing to children. And so I don't know my colleagues' intent on having a potential further conversation on this. If you're not interested, that's fine. It may just be a pet project of mine to find more information on this. If you are interested, I'd like to know I know there There are organizations out there who are fighting this fight. I just wonder if it's something my colleagues are interested in. Recognizing Councillor Plott.
Thanks, Mayor Clayton. Appreciate you bringing this up, actually. Through our youth council, this has been a conversation for them, and they were very concerned about the use of vapes in school and specifically around that. So I think it's something we should be looking into if we want to support our youth council's movement on that. I'm sure there were probably some happy members from our school districts as well if we were looking at doing something like that as well.
Right, so I'll direct it. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Councillor O'Toole.
Yeah, I'd fully support doing something about the sale of it and what those restrictions are and operation. I don't know, but I would sure like to inquire about it.
Okay, so I'll sort of put a motion together here, and if Mr. Burke has thoughts on it, please add to it. But I direct administration to bring back a report exploring opportunities and limitations in licensing and selling of flavored vapes within our community. Mr. Burke.
Can I suggest, just as we have some of the other motions, that just bring back some information that I'm just trying to reduce the administrative burden. If there's just another way we can bring all these back together to have a joint discussion. So if we could just change report to information and we'll figure that out.
Sounds good. I'm comfortable with that. Committee direct administration to bring back information to the appropriate standing committee regarding exploring opportunities and limitations for licensing and selling vapes in the city. Okay, that works for me. Seeing no one in the queue or online with questions or concerns, discussion, debate, I'll call the question.
Councillor Plott in favour.
And that carries unanimously. Now we'll go to Councillor Plott for your motion.
I would just move that we go in camera.
So that motion is in order. I'll call the question. That carries unanimously. We'll just give ourselves a moment here.